Niggas ain't shit but hoes and trick. Niggas ain't shit but hoes. Listen, guys. Hey, guys. Your girl Victoria back to you with another review for Married at First Sight, Season 18, Episode 12, called I Just Want to Eat You Up. And David was not talking about no damn food. He was not talking about his... David lied. David a whole lie. Look, guys. This is what you guys wanted. You know, you wanted us to get here. And now we're here. Okay, so, you know, we're going to start off with 22 days until decision day, okay? Camille and Thomas, they go visit her family. So this is the episode where they write letters to each other, to their younger selves, read it to each other, connect on that, visit their families and whatnot. But they're going to make it seem like they the one who came up with this idea. But it's funny that y'all all came up with this idea to do with y'all spouse. Like, come on. Give me a fucking break. They do this every season. Like, producers do better. So, anywho, Camille and Thomas go to her family to see her grandma, her dad, and I think, uncle or brother or something. I don't know. But, you know, it goes well. She looks just like her dad. She smiles just like her dad. They stand the exact same. So, you know, ain't no denying that child, sir. But yeah, it goes well. You know, he learns a lot about her, sees her like newspaper clippings, you know, from when she played basketball and all that stuff. So that was cool. Moving on, because, you know, we just gonna, look, we know I'm behind. We know I'm just trying to catch up. Because we really want to talk about a good, well, is it really good parts? But we're trying to get to the parts, the main parts. So we move on to Catchy. He let us know that, you know, he has mixed emotions about moving back in with MM because they're supposed to be moving back in today. And he doesn't think it's the best idea because he doesn't want to lose his peace again. Because, you know, now that he's back at his own place, you know, he got his peace back again. And, you know, he want to take it slow. All right, or you get, look, you ain't saying nothing we ain't already, whatever, okay? Are you going to express this to a man? Because, you know, you can't express yourself, but it's like you expect a man to know what you thinking and, you know, how you feeling and whatever. You want her to experience it. So, okay, please, we're not the person for you to tell, you know, talk to about that. We don't give a damn. Tell your wife, okay? We then move on to David and Michelle, okay? They're talking in the car. They're on the way to her people's house, right? They're going to her sister's house. And I guess she's letting us know, he went to Alan and Madison's place last night or something. David suggested for them to go out to the bar or whatnot. So in my head, I'm just like, so you're just hanging out with Alan and Madison? So it's the three of y'all? Not saying that y'all can't do that, but I'm just like, it's interesting that he already brought up that, you know, the way you and Madison be like, how Alan brought up, you know, Madison and David be hugging and stuff, you know. It's just interesting now, y'all, you know, he's gonna be the third wheel. But is he really the third wheel, or is Alan becoming the third wheel? That's why he wanted to go home when he was a little tipsy last episode and whatnot, right? Okay, you know, I'm trying to peep game, I'm trying to clock it. Because, you know, the way they about to have me acting a fool in these next few reviews, you know, I don't know if I'm ready for that energy, but, you know, I will bring the energy if I need to bring damn energy. So, anywho, while they're on their way to Michelle's sister's house, she's saying, you know, she's struggling in the marriage, she's struggling in Chicago, so she can't wait to go back to her people's house or her sister's house, you know, to be in, you know, around comfortability. And, you know, she's gonna see her little dog. I forgot what the dog's name was, Waylon or something. So, you know, she can't wait to go see her son. And yeah, you know, that's all good and dandy. But, you know, she wants to bring up this text that she received from David, you know. I don't know if it was last night or whatever night it was, but, you know, he specifically sent her, you know, a risque text saying, you know, damn girl, you so fine, I just want to eat you up. Now, if he really did send, well, we know he didn't, but, like, if he did send that, like, if I received a text from that, like, well, then again, it might be different for her, because, you know, she ain't really feeling homeboy like that. But for me, I feel like someone sending me that text, you know, like, wow, like, I'm doing something for you. Wow, like, thank you, you know, I appreciate that, because, you know, as quirky and, you know, weird and strange as I am, I be appreciating the people who appreciate me. So, you know, for someone, I'm like, wow, really, I really get your gears moving and stuff, you know. Wow, like, you're witty, you know, you getting bricked and stuff. Wow, like that. Thank you. But, you know, Michelle is very, or tries to be, okay, upscale, you know, very posh. So for her, you know, this is very non-demure, you know. And this, David, okay, look, bro. Homeboy want to say, oh, That was to my cousin. What had happened was she done made some food that looked so good, so it's like, I kind of misspoke saying, I wanted to eat her up, but like I wanted to eat up because the food looked so good. Like he was talking to the food, pretty much what he was trying to tell her and us was that he was talking to the food, not really to his cousin, but he was taking that to his cousin because his cousin sent him a picture of food she made, and David, I know you was thinking on your feet, and that was the best you could come up with, thinking on your feet. But like, if you gonna lie, you gotta do better than that. Cause what the was that? Cause I don't know, that sounds very ancestral. I don't care if she made some food, but so she made some food that got you brick that you talking, texting. We know that he didn't text the cousin, all that stuff. But at the same time, it's just like, sir, you would have been better off saying, "Yeah, I sent that to you because I think you so fine, girl, and I just want to eat you." Like you would have, it would have been a better lie to say that text was intentional to Michelle, your wife, versus your cousin who made food and sent you a picture of food, quote unquote. David, please miss us with the bullshit, like, sir. What, sir? It's giving incest because you didn't later on in the episode you want to talk about, we're a weird family. That's not that's making it sound way. David, sir, David, please, no. So she's still questioning it. David continued to tell lies. We're gonna come back to this conversation later because we're gonna then move on to them arriving at her sister's house. She's not trying to make a big scene right now, and she sees her little son Waylon. I think that's the son's name. If that's not, I'm sorry, Waylon, or whatever your name is. And he talks with her family. They tell him to give Michelle some grace and patience because she does take some time to get warmed up too. But like it's been over a month. How long time we're gonna take to get warmed up? But he might have made some progress if he didn't text her something that was supposed to go to his cousin. After she done made some food. So you know I'm just like, oh, some grace and pay. Too late for that. He already cheating. So then we move on to Alan and Madison. They play catch so they could talk about her childhood and growing up and her interest in sports and softball and whatnot. She tells him that she feels closer to him, since she's being more open and vulnerable with him. But, it's not turning on that romantic connection. He already know that. Madison, you don't have to, like, why you gotta let him? Like, we already know ain't nothing being turned on for you. We've been caught that, but it's probably being turned on for David. That's why you didn't have no feelings for Alan because you really feeling David over there. So anyway, because we know that text was for you. We David meant to text Madison and he accidentally texted Michelle because he probably put M in the search bar and it came up with Michelle. He didn't realize it said Michelle because he was trying to mean Madison. Well, for future reference, David, just put her as Boo Thing. I'm pretty sure you have her as Boo Thing current time from what I'm hearing out in these streets. Anyway, so then whatchamacallit, he said he know that and whatnot. We move on to Eman bring her dog to the groomers with her friend, and they talk about her marriage. She says she hasn't talked to Akechi since they're meeting with the experts, but she wants to ease their way to moving in because she's wanting to slow down and kind of not pump the brakes, but just take a step back and let him take the lead because she wants him to get to know her. And then on the flip side, Akechi is going to the gym with a friend to talk about his marriage, and he's also expressing he wants to get to know her, and he's not really ready to move in, and he wants her to experience him, not necessarily him expressing who he is. He tries to challenge the friend, like to tell the friend who he like. All right, whatever. Y'all gonna, I know your friend gonna stick beside you and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, if someone asks you like who you are, it's not really hard to, like, if you know who you are, like, do you not know who you are to explain who you are? Like, get the fuck out of my face. Like, you piss me off. So then we move on to Carla and Juan. They go to a coffee shop to write their letters to their younger selves, and they read it to each other. Carla goes first. Juan has 3 distinct letters to read to himself, one from 6 months, one from 6 years old, and one from 16 years old. He gets emotional, and Carla, waits until he's done before she gets up and gives him a hug. But for me, I'm just kind of like, it feels like you're forcing tears. Like, his face does get red, his nose gets red, his eyes get red. There are some, like, water, little cusps, little of water right underneath his eyeline or whatever you want to, like, whatever. But, I just felt like it was a forced cry. Because, you know, when you gotta go like this and like get up, walk away to do the dramatics, theatrics, and, you know, be like, and all that stuff, like, I feel like you're trying to force the tears to really, not, well, I mean, probably engage, but to really pull that emotion so people can feel sorry for you. But one, to me, it just seemed forced, and I'm like, it's hard, like, it didn't feel like it came naturally, your tears. Because there was no tear that streamed down your face. It was just only at the cusp of underneath your eye. So for that, it's just like you forced some water out of your eyelids. But it really didn't seem like something that, you know, I'm not saying what you went through wasn't true or traumatic to you or emotional to you. But it just really felt like something where you really wanted to, you know, pull out the heartstrings. So you forced yourself to cry versus like just, you know, feeling down about it. You know, I don't know. But okay, you know, I'm gonna give him, you know, actually no, I'm not gonna. No, I feel like he forced to cry. You know, I ain't gonna try to be nice over here. We don't got time for that. So then we move on to um Carla saying, you know, she appreciates the vulnerability, all that stuff. Okay, 21 days until decision day. We then have Alan Madison. They go fishing to talk about Alan's past. He gets emotional, you know, himself. Of course, we're talking about our past, traumatic experiences of who shaped us today, who we are today. All right, cool. So then we move on to Carla and Juan. They get home. Juan brags about him cleaning and how good it smells in the house and stuff. And I'm just like, so what does it smell like when you don't like what did the house smell like before you cleaned? Like, does it smell funky in there, or does it just smell regular schmegular? Because if it smells regular schmegular, I mean, you can still brag about how good it smells, but like you making it sound like it was funky in there before you cleaned it, and now it smells good because you cleaned it because before it was funky. Like, what are you trying to say, Juan? Okay, but anyway, they sit down on the couch to talk, and you know, Carla says that she's ready to introduce Juan to her family, but since they don't want to be on camera, they gonna visit them without being on camera. So, you know, he accepts and appreciates her for, you know, taking that step forward and wanting to introduce him to her family. So he's kind of nervous, but he's ready and up for the challenge. Cool. 21 days until decision day. We have Camille and Thomas going to visit his biological mother. They take shots while she's cooking. And, you know, she tells her adoption story, you know, from her perspective. And, you know, Camille does console her, comfort her, you know, rub her back and stuff. But it's like, I don't want to say she didn't care or like she was being weird about it, but I just feel like even though she was a caregiver to her younger siblings, I feel like, just like Tom said, like, you don't really show your vulnerable side. So I feel like she feels awkward not only being on camera, but also trying to show comfort like she cares. I'm not saying she don't care, but I feel like she doesn't really know how to express, like, oh, like, she knows the motions of what to do, but like, I just don't really feel like, you know, okay, you know how to rub someone's back if they're crying and stuff, but like, I really don't feel like you're really um empathizing or sympathizing with them. It really feels like you're just going through the motions to show like you're not just a robot and just standing there. But even you rubbing her back just seemed something like, okay, you know, that's what you should do if someone's crying, not necessarily like you're feeling with them, if that makes sense. I don't know if I make any sense, but you know, Camille's just kind of like awkwardly looking at the camera, breaking the fourth wall or whatever, kind of looking away and stuff. Just her demeanor, just her body language just shows like, okay, like she's like kind of uncomfortable, you know, with all the emotions going on in the room. But I mean, she held her own, I guess, for the best that she could. And we did move on to Carla and Juan going to Carla's family house. So we're gonna see how it went later, because you know they're not gonna be on camera at the house. We move on to Catching the Mem. They meet at the shared apartment to talk. They both agree that they're both not ready to move back into the apartment yet, and you know, Mem wants to kind of revisit the week where he ignored her, you know, when she was trying to text him and stuff. He don't want to revisit it. He wants to move forward, and not talk about the past. And, you know, Mem is like, well, that seems like you're dismissing me, you know. So anytime, you know, anything conversation goes left in the Catchy's eyes, which is like all the fucking time, you know, he gets uncomfortable, you know, I guess he gets anxiety or whatever. And, you know, I guess he can't be next to him, and he can't even look at him, and she's looking directly at him. He's looking straight ahead. So he's like, oh, you know, he needs a glass of water. So he gets up to go to the kitchen to talk to her. So like, he has to talk to her from a distance. I peeped that. I'm just like, why, you know, close proximity? Like, y'all not even touching. Like, y'all on opposite sides of the couch. Like, you're so uncomfortable around her. Why? Is it because you can tell that she sees right through your bullshit? Like, I don't know. But when he's at the kitchen drinking his tap water, he said that, because she was asking him, that, the ball's in his court and he's gonna have to reach out to her because she'd be doing the main one reaching out to him. So he said he's gonna reach out to her, but pretty much he didn't say this word for word. I'm just paraphrasing that her delivery to him just don't be cutting it, and she's like, okay, I received that, I respect that. She'd be saying the freaking textbook type of answer. And I just feel like it's a therapist talking to a kid. Like, Em's a therapist, Kechi's the kid, because he's giving very childlike behavior. Like, you feel the heat under the pressure of M's eyes, so you gotta go away because the closer you are to the light, the warmer you gonna feel. So the further you are from the light, the less warm you gonna, like. That's the synopsis or metaphor that I can give in regards to Kechi and how he's reacting whenever he's around the Mem, because Mem gonna call him out his bullshit. And he don't like the directness of her. Her delivery is too direct for him because he probably wants her to sugarcoat shit because people probably sugarcoat shit with him before. But no, you're a grown ass man. Take the heat. But anywho, he's like, all right, cool. I realized I forgot some things, so he's just trying to deflect and get his stuff and just dip because now he's uncomfortable because he can't take the heat. He can't take accountability for his shit. He don't want to talk about him being absent because per his words, if he doesn't want to talk, if he needs his space, that's on his time and not her time. Whatever, dog. Like, I mean, she cared. I mean, I don't. I'm just like, dog, just leave, bro. Like, why are you still on camera? You know what I'm saying? But okay, cool. And she tells us, she's not calling him her. She's not. Oh no, producers clock that she's not calling him husband no more. But it seems like next episode she's gonna call him husband again. So like, she only ain't calling him husband for the time being. Producers, like, calm down, relax your tits. Like, she gonna be back to saying the shit again. And that's that scene. And I'm just kind of like, so can we wrap this up? Can we hang it up at this point? Because y'all exhausting at this. Like, what's the point? And Kechi ain't with it. I'm trying to be with it and trying to, step back. But it's like, what's the point when like he's still not gonna make effort? Like, you ruined it with your aggression and whatever. It's just not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. Hang it up. Ain't no resolution need to be had at this point. Like, just block each other's number. Okay, let's just call it what it's just. Come on, guys. Like, we don't. Anyways, Juan and Carla, do video camera diary thing and let us know that it was a good time. The mom made some regular ribs. She made some short ribs. She made a lot of stuff. The dad is, cool and everything. So everything went good. We then get to Michelle and her friend. They go get drinks and talk about her marriage. So she tells her about the whole text situation. The friend's like, she needs to call David out and talk to him. And, Michelle lets us know, like, you don't see me reaching out to my old host. Okay. Michelle, what old holes? Who you got on your roster? Because I know ain't no Drake or Travis Kelce. I know that for sure. Who you got on your roster? I'm not saying you don't have nobody because you did have exes before, but like, wasn't your ex from like years back? So between that, like, Michelle, you didn't even sound natural saying holes, ma'am, Michelle, please. Okay, please, Michelle, not today. Not today in this 11th hour. Michelle, please. Please. Don't ever say that again. Don't ever say, Michelle, do not, please. Michelle, please. Okay? We're gonna move on. Okay? Carla and Juan. Okay? They meet up with some of Carla's families who it's okay to be on TV. They talk about, how everything went with, the family who didn't want to be on TV. And they talk about sex and, attraction and stuff. Carla's ready. Juan not there yet. The cousins tell us, in their little confessional thing that, Carla's very affectionate, needs that attention. And, Juan needs to tap in and stuff. Why are you telling us this? You need to tell Juan that then. Like, pull him to the side. Let him know, look, bruh. She being very patient with you, but like she gonna need some affection. And it doesn't even have to be sex, but you gotta show some interest physically. And he gonna drop the ball next week. He gonna drop the ball next week from what I'm seeing from the previews. Carla admits she's a sensitive person, and I am too. You know what I'm saying? And if we drew in some physical activity with roses and me laying down and you just laughing while you tracing it on. Look, look, Juan, you better tap in. But y'all should have told him that. Like, we don't need to tap in. We tapping in over here. You know what I'm saying? But like, don't tell us that, tell Juan. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't last to get to Michelle and David. Okay, so they were supposed to read their letters to their younger selves to each other, but Michelle said she had other things in plan. Would she have other things in plan? Talk about this text that he done sent that was supposed to be for his cousin with the food, quote unquote. So he's still on the food excuse, getting defensive and stuff. She asked to see a photo of the food since it was so damn good looking. He wanted to eat it up. He pulls out his phone, but he was just like, he's not about to do this. Why, David? She's like, because where's the photo? No, she says, describe the food. He can't describe the food. And she's like, was there even a photo? Like, do you have the photo? He's like, no, I don't got the photo. And she's like, okay, are you texting other girls and stuff? He's like, yeah. He's texting, like, girls he used to date on Tinder and whatnot. She's like, you're a married man. And he was just like, I didn't know. I can't text my exes. It's because you're not texting your exes, David. Who are you texting? Madison. Don't, sir. At this point, you should have just been honest. It would have still went very bad, but it would have went. I mean, maybe, I don't know, but lying, blatantly lying, ancestrally blaming your cousin. That's you should have went with. I mean, you should have told the truth, but like the Tinder thing, your exes would have been a better excuse versus saying your cousin, because that's very concerning. That's very concerning. That's weird. And if no offense to Michelle, but like if a country girl is saying that's weird, and how some country folks they think incest is okay. But if a country girl's telling you that's weird, then nigga, you blame your cousin. That's why I'm glad you gonna talk to the cousin next week, because you listen. If somebody's wife were to call me and tell me that shit, I'll be like, I'm blocking my cousin. Why would you put me in that text in the same sentence? That's disgusting. This is disgusting. I'm blocking my cousin. Why I ain't gonna talk to them for the rest of the time on the show, and then we're gonna have to have, a conversation in person, but like 20 feet apart, at this point, because like, why? No. We're not gonna do that. We're not. What you're not gonna do, put me in your bullshit, especially something that with a text like that. That's disgusting. I don't care if it's about food. Let a cousin ever text me that. I'm getting a restraining order. Anyway, so he said he has full respect for her. Said, I told your family I have full respect for you, so I will never do anything, the opposite of that. He don't say that word for it, I'm just paraphrasing, but, she's just like, okay, I don't believe you. She's like, you're being very defensive, like you're acting like you got something to hide. He's like, I don't got nothing to hide. He's done with this conversation. If she wants to revisit another time, they can, because you're going to think about more excuses. Sir, please. And, she gets up and walks away and stuff like that. David, you was very snappy and defensive because we know you got something to hide. You ain't fooling nobody. You're not even fooling yourself at this point. And I know you're not fooling yourself. So at the end of the day, David, you ain't shit. Madison, you ain't shit. But if I did saw y'all on the street, I say this all the time. So does that make me fake? I don't know. Maybe. But, just because I don't like what you did here don't mean I'm not going to acknowledge you in person, you know what I'm saying? If I see you in person, I'm going to be like, yo, that's David from Married First Sight. Let's take a picture. I'm going to take a picture with you, for sure. And I'm going to post it, for sure. You know what I'm saying? But, I can still call you out on your shit. If that makes me fake, I don't give a fuck. I don't care, because all y'all fake too. You know what I'm saying? Because y'all know good well, y'all love to talk on social media. Let it be in person. Crickets. And for me, it ain't gonna be crickets. I'm gonna be like, hey David, what's up? But I'm not gonna bring up what you done did, because that's not my place. But since I come on here to express my opinions, I'm gonna tell it like it is. I'm gonna tell you my opinions on it. But I'm not gonna go to you and be like, yo David, like, why'd you do that, homegirl? No, I'm just gonna be like, yo David, you're from Married at First Sight. Can I take a picture? I got a photo with David. Like, is that brag worthy? I don't know. But for me, it is. Because this is the people I watch. Okay, I've spent my time watching these people for like almost 2 hours. I can't even say every week because I'm just binge watching at this point because the season's over. Like, the season's done. So, like 2 weeks ago, done. But yeah, man, that was the end of the episode. Like, y'all ain't shit. David ain't shit. Madison ain't shit. You know, Michelle ain't shit. You know, y'all ain't shit really. But am I shit? Probably not either. You know, none of us ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? But you know, everybody got things that they gotta take accountability for just for different reasons. But you know, this reason I'm just like, David, bro, come on, bro. Your cousin though, what her name? Let's start with a D. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. On behalf of David, even though that's your cousin, like, I'm so sorry. Is that the one that was very aggressive in the beginning with his mama? When they was like realizing Michelle was like kind of hesitant on the whole marriage thing. Is that the cousin? I was gonna say a joke, but I'm not gonna say a joke. And it wasn't a joke towards the cousin, it was a joke towards David. But yeah, man, that was then. Okay, I'm about to probably watch the other one next episode tomorrow. But you know, like I said, you're gonna get all the episodes at the same time. On my reviews and stuff. I'm gonna just post it all in one. It's gonna be at midnight one of these days, and that's it. You know. But anywho, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you laughed at least once, please subscribe. If you didn't laugh, go watch the next episode or the next review recap. Hopefully I can make you laugh then so you can subscribe then. Okay, you know, comment down below what you thought about this episode. Be easy peasy lemon squeezy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.